Hi everyone, today we're going to focus on part 3 of synchronous sessions and virtual support, which is engaging activities. Some things to think about when creating activities for this upcoming year is that social emotional learning is key, even more so when we are in this remote setting. We need to keep this in mind when talking with our students and design some activities to let them work on their social emotional learning. Designing lessons with students missing. There will be times when students are not going to be available for live meetings. Keep in mind what you're doing in these meetings and how students who are not attending them will be affected by this. Keep it simple and small if possible, and be thoughtful with your recordings. Try to not make your recordings very long, keep them short and to the point. We don't want to lose our students' attention. We want to keep them engaged with what we're talking about. There are some engagement ideas that you can use with your students. Many features that are built into Google Meet can be used and will help keep your kids engaged during your live meetings you have with them. Think about how can you have your students represent their learning through visuals. Think of what they can do with pictures and images while in a live meeting to represent their learning. Use the chat feature. This won't be available, obviously, if kids are not attending the live meeting, but those who are attending can use the chat feature to stay engaged. Keep in mind that there will be times students can't use their cameras or may not want to use their cameras. So how are you going to create activities where the camera does not need to be involved? A great tool to use is Google's Jamboard. Those who aren't using a camera can still contribute to a live platform. And also those who aren't there at the time will still be able to contribute later and see the thinking of all of their peers. Screen sharing is a great tool for teachers to use, but be cautious when asking students to share their screens. Do so thoughtfully and think about how all of your other students will participate during this time so it's not just one student sharing their screen and doing all of the talking. Ways to support students who miss live sessions. So when you have a student who misses a live session with your class, here are some ideas you could use to support them. Contact the student to check in on their well-being, engage with them as you did with those who attend. Maybe set up a private meeting, send them a message, see how they're doing and what's going on. Provide links to any direct instruction that was done. These will usually be posted in Google Classroom for them to look at. And invite them to contribute to any shared docs or written discussions that took place. An example is that Jamboard that I just talked about. You can also use Google Docs, Google Slides, anything you're using with your students. Have those who were not available still participate in these activities. On the Google Classroom page, there are a few links posted. The first one is 5 tips for supporting students socially and emotionally during distance learning. This one is 25 strategies to engage students on your next Zoom meeting. Now, I know we are not using Zoom and we're using Google Meet, but most of these activities can be used in Google Meet also. There is a page on features to help engage students and classes within Google Meet. There is an article on how to use Jamboard. And then this is an example of a Jamboard that you can use with your students. Your task for this part of our learning module is to identify one or more ideas or resources that you might use in different scenarios next year. Describe your thinking in the module exit ticket. So in that exit ticket, there is a spot for you to provide your ideas and resources that you may use in this upcoming school year.